everyone. We're getting ready. Sorry, sometimes these events start a little after the hour.
7 o'clock. Anybody else?
Yep.
Oh, 7:10, 7:12. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
We'll start.
So here's our crowd here tonight. Hi everyone, welcome. We got some folks waving to you. There's Romi and Jeremy. Awesome. Well, our speakers are just getting ready to sit down. So hopefully, hey guys, look at all of you. We'll do a Q&A at the end, so be thinking of some questions towards the end. But we're just getting started. Give you guys time. Get settled in. All right.
Hi there. How are you doing? What's your name? Carolyn. Everybody say hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn.
Yes, and Carolyn's friend? Heather. Everybody say hi. I'm not going to do that with all 100 of you guys. Oh, yes, I am. What's your name?
Julianne.
Are you excited to be here?
Very, thanks.
RFX are right there.
Looking at, so.
Okay. I think I'm unmuted.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us in San Francisco. This is actually a first time presenting in the city. And I love these Bay Area events because I live out in East Bay in Danville, but this is even more convenient because our office is located like 4 blocks down Market Street down on Spear. So I think this is actually the first event ever that I've been able to walk to come over to present it. So this is fantastic. So real quick introductions. I'm Jeremy Soni. I am Rodan Fields' U.S. Vice President of Sales. And so hey, just by a quick show of hands, who is joining us as a consultant tonight? Fantastic. Welcome to all of you. I think that we have people flying in from all parts of the country for this presentation today, right? It's good to see.
It's called Periscope.
And Periscope. You know what? Well, Rick, as long as you're bringing that up, I don't know how many people are Periscoping, but we should all actually do a quick wave to everybody joining on Periscope.
Give us some hearts.
Lots of hearts.
Lots of hearts. So how many are joining us tonight as guests?
Awesome.
Fantastic. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I've got to be honest, this is a new, I'm going to try to stand in the middle here because this, so if anybody just tell me to like move this way or move that way. This is a new format for me. And I'm used to, and for us too, everybody, right? So I'm used to, the business presentation and we talk about the business and you've got the same format. And so this is kind of fun. So I don't know if this was inspired by maybe the elections. So you know what? So all weekend I was studying Maria Bartiromo just to see exactly what this interaction would be. I'm going to warn you here just really quickly. If anybody brings up New York values or anything like that, so listen, I have the right to just, all right? So non-political tonight.
Got it. And we can't do any worse than the debates, right?
Okay, so actually, this is a really unique experience, a really unique opportunity, because we've got such a collection of our highest leaders in the company from here. And so I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves in just a second here, but it's extremely unusual to have these level of leaders in one room speaking at this type of event. So just from a perspective standpoint, we're gonna try something a little bit different. Instead of going through a bunch of slides and talking about the business and talking about products and talking about the service levels of the company and the partnership, we're going to do more of a Q&A format. And so I guess I get to be the facilitator of this. And we're going to ask some questions and give everybody a chance to learn about the Rodan Fields business. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you guys and just really briefly, let's make this quick. Everybody has an extremely diverse background. From what I understand, everybody has not been doing Rodan Fields forever. And so really quickly, what's your name, where are you from, and maybe quickly, what did you do before Rodan Fields?
I think we're all former somethings or others. So I'm Bridget Kavanaugh. I live in Bozeman, Montana. And I'm a former marketing executive.
And I'm Romi Neustadt and live in San Diego now. Used to live in Bozeman, Montana. I'm a former lawyer and a former PR exec, and so incredibly happy to be former of both.
I'm Nicole Cormany, and I live outside of Phoenix, Arizona, and I also used to live in Bozeman, Montana. And I am a former research specialist.
I'm Kim Krause, and where am I from? Denver, Colorado. Actually, we just moved a
Originally
little.
Bogalusa, Louisiana.
Yeah, originally. Anybody heard of that? Bogalusa, Louisiana. And we just moved to Littleton, Colorado. And I was formerly a real estate agent and a developer.
My name is Amy Bird, and I'm from Spokane, Washington, and I used to be a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I've been doing this. November was 6 years.
And my name is Rick Krause, a Colorado native. Colorado. All Colorado fans. I was in the tech business for 25 years, owned my own company. We sold semiconductors. Formerly.
My name is Josh Cormany. I go with Nicole. And I am a former mortgage banker, and I'm going to hold the mic for Marissa.
My hands are full. My name is Marissa McDonough from Bozeman, Montana. Yay. This is Coley. She's 6 weeks old, and I am a former real estate broker.
Right.
And my name is John Neustadt. Romi is my better half, and I am a doctor by training, but was very happy to be able to walk away from that to be doing this.
Okay, so we're going to take questions more towards the end, but in the beginning here, I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to ask all of the questions. We're going to get some of these obvious ones out of the way. My guess is, and I'll ask this to you guys in a second. My guess is that many of you didn't, grow up and say, I want to be a Rodan Fields consultant. And I know for me personally, I actually am not from direct sales. I'm not from premium skincare, although I have been here for almost a year now. Which is sort of mind-boggling. That's something like 7 years in Rodan Fields dog years, right? So, yeah, right? That kind of feels that way. So, something I probably have in common with the guests in the room, though, is, I also, didn't necessarily wake up saying, at some point I want to go to work for Rodan Fields. For me, it was really the opportunity to go work for a long-time career mentor, Heidi Wismiller. And at the time, I'm not sure that I appreciated exactly what I was getting into, although I really, certainly did my homework on what it would be. But what I recognized is, the strength of the brand with the Rodan and the Fields, the doctors, the strength of the products, and what I think I didn't necessarily appreciate is all of this. And I don't know how to describe it other than this. But with that, look, I want to quickly ask a couple of you, what is your story? Maybe, Romi, why don't we start with you? How did you hear about Rodan Fields, and what got you into this business?
So I'm a chick who has been ruled by the billable hour in both the careers that I had. My time was never my own. So you had a happy marriage, a couple of gorgeous little kids, and I got more and more resentful. And I was also hitting my head against an earnings glass ceiling. If I wanted to earn more money, I was going to have to work more, which means less quality of life. So a PR client of mine actually introduced me to this business. And for me, this was a no-brainer. See, I had never, ever thought that I'd be in direct sales, social commerce. I always wanted, however, to be my own boss and run my own life. And so when I found that this was turnkey, and we could be a part of this global opportunity, this established brand, and all of the infrastructure, everything about growing your own business that seemed drudgery and too expensive and untouchable was eliminated, I just thought, I got to do this. And all you got to do is talk to people. I could talk to people. Yeah.
So I actually learned about the business through Romi. We were friends because our kids went to the same preschool, and we also knew each other professionally. And I had a lot of respect for Romi, so when she was telling me about Rodan Fields, I was all ears. I was looking for a way to be home with my kids, to be my own boss, and I was looking for a business opportunity. I was looking at franchising opportunities, and as many of you know, those are extremely expensive. So when she told me that the same doctors who created Proactive had this new business and that I could leverage that brand from home, I was definitely all ears. So I've been now at 6.5 years with the company, and Josh was able to walk away from his career 21 months later. Wow.
So I've been with Rodan Fields, gosh, about 7 years, and kind of like you guys, I always wanted to be my own boss, and loved real estate. But as most of you know, I'm a mother of 3 children, and if you're going to be good in real estate, you need to work on the weekends. You need to work after 5 o'clock, and if you don't do that, you're broke. So when I joined Rodan Fields, it's a very telling time. It was after the downturn in the economy, 2008, 2009. Were any of you affected in 2008, 2009? Yeah. So at that point in my life, I really had a paradigm shift about what I was doing. And instead of being tied to the billable hour, what I recognized is that after every single transaction, I got fired. And I had to start all over again. I was only as good as my last sale. I was only as good as my last year. And I had an epiphany. I'm like, I've got to do something different. I really didn't know what that was, but I heard about Rodan Fields, and really what attracted me was the 2 doctors, the branding, that I could do this around my home, around my kids, and the flexibility, and just building it bit by bit. We were very, very busy. When I heard about it, like many people, I had room for peas on my plate. I really did. But I always say you make time for the things that are important in your life. Would you not agree with that? And I want to change. So focused on this business in a very short time. It's been life-changing. I want to say, I don't know, 2nd year in the business, I earned a brand new shiny white Lexus, and I will tell you this, is a car that somebody else pays for drives much better than the one you pay for. It's the truth.
Yeah.
My 3rd year, what was it, 2013? What happened that year?
Well, 2012.
2012, she actually matched my income of 25 years.
Yeah.
So life-changing 2012, 2013, $1 Million Circle. 2014, I sold my business and joined her. So,
Rick, I want to keep going with you. So when Kim originally joined the business, you did not jump into the business at that point to join her. So what were your thoughts initially when she joined Rodan Fields? What were you thinking?
Well, so 2009, anybody get hit with the recession in 2008, 2009? Anybody? That's it? That's awesome. That's awesome. We got completely destroyed. So she had mentioned we built homes, and she was in real estate, and we had lost everything that we had invested in real estate over a decade. We lost it in that time, and that's when she discovered Rodan Fields. So, and she was doing it alongside her real estate career. So my mind is like, you can do that because the doctors and the brand, absolutely, but we're still coming out of it, right? I mean, we're focused on real estate, right? And even the real estate market was terrible. And she, in 9 months, then basically came to me and said, I want to hang up my real estate license. And my head was still not there. We're still kind of coming out of it. But I believe so much in the doctors and the brand and the products and where they were going that said absolutely, and she did that. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room ever, right? But I've always been good at recognizing opportunity. And this was opportunity, and it still is today, for sure.
Okay, so Josh, same question to you.
Yeah, so like Nicole said at the beginning, I was really immediately supportive. I think what I noticed was I certainly had heard of Proactive. I didn't know much about skincare, but I recognized that we could, or Nicole could leverage that, and I just was very open-minded to this and very supportive of her. And I kind of was like, There was no, luckily for us, I was in the mortgage banking business, so when the market crashed, interest rates went down and I refinanced everybody. So I knew that wasn't going to last forever though, because things in my business got very, very weird after that, and that's when it started to affect me personally. All I did was disappoint people when I showed up from work. I was very unfulfilled. I recognized finally that even though if you're bringing home a decent paycheck, you can still be unfulfilled at work, and I was frustrated. But the things I paid a lot of attention to in the beginning was how focused she was and how good she was and the results that started to happen right away. And so, I, like Rick, I'm not the smartest guy in the room ever, but I also know how to recognize those opportunities and leverage momentum and things that are working. And this is not, my business in mortgage banking was way more complex than this. This is not rocket science. It's challenging at times for sure, but I knew we could do something special. And we have, thanks, sir.
All right, so I want to keep hearing from the men here just real quick. John, for you, if you were to go back in time, what do you wish that you would have known when Romi started first hearing about the business and when you guys first started talking about Rodan Fields? What do you wish you would have known then for somebody who's considering jumping in the business now, but specifically maybe from the perspective of a man?
So at that time, like Josh, I was very supportive of her without knowing anything about the business or anything really about the business model. I had never been involved in either one of us in a direct sales company before. I had a doctor, and I had a thriving medical practice and was very busy with that and doing some other medical work that I was doing. And for me at the time, I was very supportive of her in encouraging her and helping her by freeing up some additional time because we were both very busy. But at the time, had I known now, then what I know now is how absolutely ginormous this company has become in just 6.5 years that we've been in it, and the trajectory of where it's going. What I would have done differently is I probably would have been running beside her and been a lot more involved a lot earlier, more than just being kind of a supportive role at home behind the scenes.
That's fantastic. All right, so Romi, I want to turn this back over to you real quick. So on your team, I'm just going to say you got introduced to her, who got introduced to her, and we can see how this sort of grew, right? But for somebody who's looking at this business now and doesn't necessarily feel as confident about, feeling, about their social network or who they might know, can you talk maybe a little bit about that type of person who's considering the business?
So I think people underestimate how many people you actually know. And let's just be clear here. Our target market is everyone we know with skin, who are currently in the US and Canada, overseas at APOs, right, in military, and soon in Australia. Okay, so I think everybody knows a lot of people with skin. I would love some of our incredible team members to talk about how they acquired their team so they can explain how this starts to grow, all the tentacles. Riz, can you talk about? Sure.
I'm going to try not to bounce too much. I think it's important to understand, so Bridget is Bozeman, Romi was Bozeman, Nicole was Bozeman, I'm Bozeman. I'll move over here. We didn't know each other before. Bozeman's population, 40,000 people. I think I saw 40,000 people in the airport, right? So, right? I mean, I knew Josh, but I didn't know Nicole, and we're all on the same team. But for me, when I got started, I've been in the business 5.5 years. I was told, oh gosh, there's so many people doing it here in this small town. And within 9 months, I was bringing in a supplemental 6-figure income. I had qualified for the Lexus. But more importantly, I want you to think about, it's not about who you know, it's about who they know. Because I went home to my husband and I said, I've started another business, and he about put his head through the wall. Because I owned our real estate firm, and we had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. But he lived in Idaho, a big, thriving metropolis like Montana. And I said, nobody's doing this in Idaho. Who do you know? I said, get out your contact book. I'm going to call their wives. And that's how it was for me. So it really wasn't about who I knew. It was about who they knew. And simply being bold and confident and just sharing this with people. That's how it grew for me.
Okay, so Amy, most people fit Rodan Fields into all kinds of parts of their lives, whether it's kids, whether it's jobs, whether it's whatever you happen to be doing. How do you fit it into your life, and how do you grow this business around everything else that you're doing?
Sure. I think these people are way ahead of me because most of them wanted to be entrepreneurs and knew that, and I was real comfortable earning a W-2.
Excuse me, Amy. They want to know what you're drinking.
Oh, yes. I just got to plain water.
Okay. Just water. Just water, everybody.
But,
400 on Periscope, by the way.
I look at this and I wonder those same questions. How am I going to do this? And I luckily grew up with this fun fellow right here, Josh, and through social media found out that his wife Nicole was doing this, and I jumped into this, and my husband and I looked at each other, and he was like, I don't know, proactive? Do you think they're going to put anything out that doesn't work? And I was like, I don't know, let's give it a go. And I just, I looked at it, you guys, and I didn't look too long, and I just figured if I'm terrible at this, I've invested in some skincare, which I'm going to buy anyways, and I want the deepest discount. And so I loved the fact that, okay, because my exposure and my I guess, history with this industry was a party plan structure. And I, having two small kids, we just started our family, adopted them from China. I didn't want to be gone on a weekly basis, and I was deathly afraid that people would run for me in Target, thinking I was going to invite them to my party in Fish Lotion and ask them to host an event, and then ask their sister who lives in Kansas if I could fly out there real quick. I mean, that was my exposure. So I found out, truly, that this is really as close as you can get to a social commerce business, and you do this word of mouth. I've done just what the rest of us here have done, and I just fit this in, and ironically, I live in Spokane, but most of my organization and where my paycheck comes from is largely preferred customers using the product, and it's not Spokane. Seattle is a huge, brings in the bulk of my paycheck, but Montana. Marissa is out of Bozeman, and she's on my team, and so it's just word of mouth, and you guys, this is no different than me asking you who made that cute top. I love it. And you see that it's Tori, so I already know. But we talk about things we like. And this is no different. It really isn't. So that's a long-winded answer to you just talk about.
And I have to say something. So I was just reminded. So you asked, how many people do people really know? And y'all know people, and people are going to hear about this. So don't wait to talk to the people you do know. This beautiful mama back here, she was referred to me by our attorney. I sat on that referral for 2 weeks, and then her college roommate ended up bringing her onto her team. So we could have been direct. I'm glad it turned out the way it did. I really am. But that's the power of this. Your network's going to hear about this. So you need to reach out to everybody. Bridget, I'd love for you to share. Again, out of Bozeman, you have a national, international team. How do you leverage social commerce to blow this sucker up like you've done?
Yeah, I'm really fortunate. I get to live on a little ranch in Montana, so extremely remote. And, we tell people that this is a belly-to-belly business. And I would love to be in a market like San Francisco. I would just love to be here. But I can still do so much, over, just a simple phone call or a quick text message. I mean, Facebook has connected me with everyone I went to grade school with, high school, college, my professional friends. And, in today's world, I could just post we have these amazing before and after photos. The products there in the back of the room, I can post one little photo, every, once a week, and I'll get an inquiry. I'll get a friend that says, I'm looking for that. I need that for my skin. Or I'll post a little business story, or just that I'm in San Francisco on this amazing panel with this group. And I had a gal message me right before I left. And I posted a little something that said, here are my former colleagues. And she messaged me right away, and she goes, I want to be a former, XYZ. So I really leverage the power of social media, but I have my phone with me wherever I go. My business is mobile. I'm out and about all day long, running around with my kids, and I never sit at a desk or in a cubicle. So that's how
Okay, so something I want to ask about is somebody mentioned PC, preferred customer, we have consultants. How do you guys think about building your business? And can you talk a little bit about the difference between growing your team through a preferred customer versus a team of consultants?
Okay, so we talk to everybody with skin. Now, some of the people we talk to, well, they're going to want products that actually work and to clean out that product graveyard that everybody has in their bathroom cupboards, right?
She used to have.
Or used to have, right? Right? Oh, I was a product whore. I had tried it all.
Who has a graveyard right now? Come on.
Come on. So, and nothing really worked. So those folks are going to want to try our products. And because we have a 60-day money-back guarantee, because we have clinical studies, because we have these jaw-dropping, never-ending library of before and afters, well, they go on the products, and then they fall in love with them. And their skin transforms, and they become walking billboards for us, and they refer us business, and with greater and greater frequency, they convert to consultant because they want to monetize their great skin too. And then other people we talk to, well, they see what we see from a business perspective, whether they want to make a shameless shoe fund, or vacation fund, or replacement income, or to do what we've been able to do, which I don't think really any of us expected this. And so they join your team as a consultant. And then we teach those folks to do the same thing, and month over month it multiplies exponentially. I mean, it started as a party of one, and now it's extraordinary. And the reach is just unreal. Today, look, these products were very successful in department stores like Nordstrom, but the doctors understood that they could reach way more people with skin if they released themselves from being trapped under the glass counter and put these products and the business model in the hands of the people that loved them. And so today, thank goodness, today, Rodan Fields is the 4th largest, fastest growing premium skincare company. 4th largest. And we're just getting started. That's the power of this model. We're blowing brick and mortar out of the water.
Romi, so let me interrupt.
Romi,
I want to get
Neustadt.
back to you because you bring up a really obvious question. If I was sitting and listening as a guest, and especially someone who didn't know a lot about the Rodan Fields business, I would be looking at this amazing lineup and saying, and you guys got in early. And you got in, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and good for you. You guys did really well. Way to go! Way to go, you guys. Which is great. So, but if I'm thinking about joining Rodan Fields now, can you talk a little bit about how I haven't missed the boat?
Yeah. I was just saying to someone, and I really, truly, honestly believe this from the bottom of my heart, now's a better time than when I started in this business.
Absolutely.
100%. Well, we definitely have more resources, and we are now a brand. We were a brand coming into it, but the brand awareness is huge. And I always tell people when we started, we were the blind leading the blind. We really were. So, what I've noticed now, again, with Facebook and social media and
This is
all
Kim
of the things,
Krause.
we can scale quickly and efficiently with our businesses. Guys, when I first started my business, the first 2.5 years, I wasn't even on social media. That's the truth. I was not on social media. One of our top earners, Kim, you've got to get on Facebook. I did this by what we were talking about, dropping my kids off at preschool and talking to the mom that was there, or asking Rick what, his
Tech
business
department.
partners' wives were doing, that kind of thing. It was really belly to belly. But the growth that we're going to see right now because of the brand awareness and the social media and I just heard, Walmart closing 296 stores? Brick and mortar is no longer the way to go. And people that are attaching themselves to brick and mortar, I'm just going to tell you, I think in the next decade are going to have a rude awakening of what's going to happen. People are buying on the internet. How many of you guys purchase things on the internet? That's it. And that's where we are. So we
Everybody
can run
agrees
my
to that.
business and most of our businesses, I would guess up here, is in all 50 states, including Canada, soon to be Australia, and then who knows where we're going to be going. And Romi would always say we grow like bunnies in love because, we can connect and, you literally can go to Rodan Fields Business School from your chair in your house. It doesn't matter if you're in San Francisco or periscoping in somewhere. I don't know if I said that right. But, the technology, I'm a tech guru here, but it goes to show you that literally anybody can do this business because, it really is just connection versus connection and connection. And it's going to happen with or without you anyway. I promise you that. And that's what I tell people. We will be a $1 billion brand without any of us sitting here, without any of you guys in the room. It's the truth. You can hear about it today and you can decide to join us, or you could decide not to. You know, but the reality is it's going to happen because of our platform, and there's a reason in 7 years that we've become the fourth largest premium skincare brand in the United States. That's huge. And I'm going to quote something, Jeremy. I mean, this is something. Was it 2009 to 2014? The top other 3 companies grew by 6%. The highest, the top was 6%. You guys want to take a guess of what we grew during that period? 106%. So that goes to show you where we are with the social media. I mean, how we can scale quickly and efficiently with what we do. And Romi said it best. We look for people, anybody that has skin. We all have skin, right?
That's really well said. I should say that I did not tell the group that I was going to ask that question, but I wanted to cut to. I mean, I think it's a really obvious question that we need to take head on. And I'll actually add on to it a little bit. We're actually growing more quickly today than we were a year ago, which is not something that I really share too broadly, but I think it's a really good indicator of the health of our business right now, that we actually are accelerating our growth. So it's not a declining growth rate. We're actually accelerating our growth rate. And just to clarify with Kim's numbers, those are annual numbers, and so that's not 106% up. Since 2007, that's averaging 106% every single year since 2007, which is pretty powerful.
Jeremy, you can piggyback on
No, post on Facebook. Absolutely, post on Facebook.
If you guys are sitting there looking at this.
Oh, they're asking me questions. Guys, I'm talking to 500 people here. Hi, guys.
But if you guys are looking at this, and just what Jeremy said, we've been doing this a while. The great thing, and Jeremy can validate this from a corporate perspective, is we have people earning Lexuses and 6-figure incomes and getting to $1 million circle faster than we've ever seen before. Yeah. Faster than we've ever seen. New people coming into this business. So hopefully that'll just validate if you have that question.
Well, I come from the consumer product space, and there's definitely something about almost a tipping point from a brand awareness standpoint. And in the very beginning, if you've never heard of a brand, you're probably going to be more reluctant to try that brand. But Rodan Fields right now is benefiting from much bigger brand awareness, and so if you know that your neighbor is using Rodan Fields, or if your cousin's using Rodan Fields and they say something nice about it, you're probably more likely to give it a try, and that's definitely contributing to that accelerating growth rate where we are right now. The other thing I want to touch on is as we grow. One thing that we have that Clinique and Estee Lauder and these other top companies don't have is, our what I'll call our ambassador advantage. That these other companies spend millions and millions of dollars on traditional media, magazines and newspapers and radio and television, and we actually spend zero on that type of media. And instead, we invest in our consultants, and what we get out of it is, our most enthusiastic ambassadors of the brand are our consultants, which are more than 100,000 now across the United States and Canada. And coming from a wine background, as you get to know me, I'll use wine analogies all the time. But from a wine background, my experience is you could go do traditional advertising, or you can send people to a tasting room. And if anybody that's been up to Napa or Sonoma, my guess is you probably have a favorite brand or a favorite winery that you've been to because you met the winemaker or you met somebody from the winery and you had a really special experience. And that's the advantage that we have, is that you have a consultant managing a business with you that gets to answer all of your questions. I stopped by Walgreens on the way over here and I had to pick up a couple things. And they sell Estee Lauder eye cream in Walgreens. And had I gone over to the section, I'm betting you that the person at Walgreens wasn't going to come up to me and say, "Let me show you my before and afters. They are amazing. I've been using this, and I've just got to show you what the results are." But that's what you get when you've got the group of consultants. So, okay, so let's keep moving here. I want to touch just a little bit more on technology. Technology has been a part of our core business from the very beginning. But which of you guys, Kim, you have not jumped in. We need to talk about that.
Oh, I have.
All right.
Yeah.
That was back in the day.
That was back in the day. I was saying I built a big business without really just talking to people and sharing is what I was trying to convey. I'm now.
She's on board.
Yes. So from a technology standpoint, what other tools does Rodan Fields offer to help you out from a technology standpoint?
Yeah, I'd love to speak to that. We have the company, it's a business in a box. So, you join, and I just remember so clearly that day I did, as September 15th, 2009, and immediately having my websites, they were live. Like, I could place an order within 30 seconds of making that decision, and it felt just so empowering. I couldn't believe it. I called a couple friends and just, was in business instantly. And, working in marketing consulting, that's just not the case. The other piece that I'm just so impressed by is you have this, back office kind of management suite that really puts you as an individual on par with, a Sephora, a Nordstrom, Amazon Prime, you name it, and to really provide that kind of exceptional customer service and really just in a point-and-click kind of manner. So we'd say technology, but it's not technology. It's just the company makes it so simple. And you have just all this visibility into, who's getting what when, and you can, with very small time investment, provide extraordinary customer service. And then phenomenal marketing, and maybe let Marissa or someone else kind of speak. We lost her, but maybe speak to some marketing and other tools.
Go ahead. You feeling at risk? You want to take it? We also have, this is skincare, and I think we've got great training. It's really how much training do you choose to access, and it's all available when you choose to plug into it. And we have recorded calls that we do as leaders throughout company-wide that are done every Sunday evening. But I think sometimes people look at this and it's scary to them, even some men that come into this. But you know what? We've got the resources to help support. If you don't know how to answer a question, we have on-call dermatology nurses that are available, and you can email them or you can call them directly and leave a voicemail and they'll get back to you. We also have a website that's called the RF Connection that's solely devoted to FAQs on our products. It's awesome, and it has great before and after pictures. It has a quick video of the doctors. I use that resource all the time. I just had a customer ask me what products contain gluten, and I sent her directly the link direct to that website. So it kind of takes, if you don't have the answer, we have a way to get it for you, because you don't have to be an expert to do this. And that's okay. You can follow up with people. So those are some of the ways with technology, and I think as long as you've got Wi-Fi and a cell signal, every now and again, you're in business. It's a beautiful thing.
All right, Amy, so as usual, you're one step ahead of me here. This is a really good transition. So you guys both touched on this a little bit. As a new consultant, what types of tools do you have access to just to get your business up and going? I love the example of just having your instantaneous website as soon as you start, right? Your .biz and your .com. So what other tools do you have immediately to jump into to start your business, to make it, to make that transition easy?
Well, one that was such a big help for me, and this guy sitting behind here, he sells more skincare products than I do. He does. It's because he's so handsome. But, the reality is it's because we have something that makes it so simple, guys. It's called a solution tool. Yes. We do not have to be dermatologists, nor am I. I'm not a dermatologist, and I don't pretend to know everything about skin, but our doctors do. They're Stanford-educated doctors that are passionate about skin. So they have put together this little tool that your customers go to, and basically they take a little test. It's called triaging, and it basically comes out, and it prescribes for them the perfect regimen that's going to work for them. And it's just that simple, that we don't have to, it takes all the guesswork out of it, to the point that, like I said,
even I can do it.
Exactly.
Is that where she was going with that?
That's kind of where I was going with that. But
what's really important about that is that your friends don't want you to choose the skincare for you, right? And so immediately you can say the doctor's database, their knowledge, that's what's choosing the solution for you. It's really important.
And the other thing that's really great is our Getting Started website. I mean, when someone joins us, we immediately have a Getting Started website. And for me, the other thing I remember, Jeremy, the biggest thing was, like someone mentioned, our training phone calls that we do. This is one business that plagiarism is allowed, kind of. I mean, we all help one another. I mean, there's really not anything that we have that we won't give you. And that's everybody across this panel, is that we share because we want everybody to be successful. So it's incredibly abundant. I didn't have that coming out of real estate. We were all in competition with one another. And people didn't want you to see what they had. And this is so different in this business. It really is a tribe of people that want to see you become successful. So phone calls are recorded, So I used to, being busy with a full-time job, I could click into and, listen to my phone call when I was on a treadmill or whatever I may be doing. I maybe couldn't catch it live. It's always there. anything that you need to access,
Nicole,
it's always
Romi.
there for us. So the tools are amazing. Just, I mean, anything you could imagine to run your business.
And I'd also say in terms of the technology, the tools that we have access to are absolutely incredible, phenomenal to help us grow and support our businesses. But there's an entire back-end technological infrastructure that is running everything that we don't see every day. I've actually, if anybody else has started any other businesses, you have to have merchant processing. You have to have a fulfillment center for shipping. You have to have tracking of packages. You have to have customer support. They've created and funded the entire back end to allow us to focus on building our businesses instead of building an entire infrastructure. And I would just add, in terms of Rodan Fields now being the #4 premium skincare company in the U.S., it's also the only premium skincare company of those 4 that's totally dedicated to our success.
You're welcome.
And sharing the market with us and letting us partner with them.
John, that's a really good point on infrastructure, and I should point out that I would consider us to be very much in investment, capital investment mode right now. So although right now we're #4, I would expect that we'll climb up the rankings this year, and we're going to have good news to announce, sometime during 2016. But from an infrastructure perspective, we are building to be #1, so that we can get ahead of those sales, so that we're not playing catch up. We're not waiting to build the infrastructure for #1 until we get there. We're building it this year so that when we do get there, things will be even more.
And what he's not saying is they're building the infrastructure for our global expansion. Because we're not tied to geography, there are no territories here. We can build businesses and profit centers anywhere we know people with skin and anywhere they know people with skin. Currently in the US and Canada, they've announced in the latter part of 2016 Australia, and that is just the first of the countries overseas of the global expansion of this company that they are now creating the global infrastructure for, to allow us to also take advantage of that wherever we are in the world.
Okay, so I know that we've got some eager questions coming. I've got one more before we take some questions both from the Periscope group and from any guests out here. But I just want to know more than anything, let's just take our guard off a little bit. What are you guys excited about right now as we start off 2016?
Global expansion.
Yeah, global expansion, for sure. Yeah. I don't personally know anybody in Australia, but I know that there are people on my team who do know people there, and so I know it's super exciting for me just to help them grow their team there. And to speak to Kim's point earlier about when you get started as a new consultant, you might be nervous, you don't know what to do. We have all these resources available in technology, but you also have the support of your sponsor, and that's a really important piece of this. And the most surprising piece for me was the support of your colleagues and your sponsor. They are invested in your success, and so we're talking about global expansion. You might be sitting there going, I don't know how to build a business overseas, but that's what we're here for, to help you. If your sponsor doesn't know the answer, they reach out to their sponsor, and so we're all in this together to help you and support you. So yes, global expansion is very exciting for us, and I gotta go make some Australian friends.
I got one.
You got one, okay, good.
What I'm so excited about after 6.5 years is I remember the days when there was a handful of us who were seeing 7-figure incomes. What excites me so much is to see the duplication of our kind of success, and that it is coming faster because of all the tools that corporate's providing, because we know what the hell we're doing now, and we can help you. And to see our people enjoy the types of perks that even in the most lofty corporate careers, they were never seeing. I mean, we were at the dinner table a couple years ago, and never forget, when you reach a certain level, you get a free Lexus in this business. And we're sitting at the dinner table, and Nate and Vivi, our son and daughter, sitting there. We're talking about this guy we know who's not in Rodan Fields, and he got a promotion. And John and I were talking about, yeah, Jim got a promotion. And our little daughter, who was 5 at the time, said, when's he getting his free Lexus? And to see what our kids are seeing when you are able to pursue entrepreneurial dreams, when they're accessible, And you actually are changing the way you're able to live by helping others change what their lives do. That just gets me up every day. So excited to see who's next.
Can I just add one more thing that we didn't really touch on that gets me excited is we have a foundation that's attached to our company called the Prescription for Change Foundation, and Josh and I did a service project today with some kids with Build On, which is our partner organization. And they're not a charity, they're a movement. They are actually empowering these kids through education to break the cycle of poverty. And Rodan Fields is a huge contributor to that. And everybody in this room, all consultants, have the opportunity to contribute to the PFC and to Build On. And I know that that's motivating for a lot of people on my team, and it motivates me to keep working.
.org.
And we are truly changing skin and changing lives through Rodan Fields. So.
That's a really good point. And the bigger we grow, the more we're going to be able to do those types of things. So, Arnie, I want you to start taking some questions on Periscope and start writing some down. In the meantime, I'm going to see who has any questions for the panel that's out here.
My name's Kylie. I am Australian. I've been here for 2 years. I've just become a consultant, and I guess I'm wondering what advice you have for a new person growing an international market.
Okay, so you live here, and for those of you who may not have heard, she is Australian. She's a new consultant, and she wants to know what our advice is for folks who want to grow a global business. And you're really probably jonesing. Right? Okay. All right. So here's the best advice, and I think we would all agree. All right. You live here. All right.
Okay, questions from
You
Periscope.
talk
I'm
to
ready, guys.
everybody with skin here. You build a really strong business here between now and when we open Australia, and you get your butt. You know what level 5 is, all right? So you're going to find 8 and help them duplicate, and then you're going to keep going and learn how we do this. You have no idea how helpful that's going to be. When we open those doors, you'll be a veteran. I mean, 8, 10, 12 months in this business, it's like 7 years. It's like dog years, right? So you're going to be incredibly equipped to be able to then reach out to your Australian network. And who knows? Who knows how many people you're going to bring on who know folks in Canada. And we got to build Pittsburgh. And we got to build, in Utah, you name it. So focus on here. Learn the ropes. This is earn as you learn, people. You're not going to study, and then apply it. Earn as you learn. And then when it's open, you're going to be an established, successful leader in this company, growing a very lucrative business. So go do it, girl.
Good question. Yes. Yeah, what happened to that New Year's diet?
Hi, my name is Heidi, and thank you to Angela for bringing me here today. I would like to know what is new for the company. For example, with the products, will we always be with the 4 skincare lines? Is there a 5th skincare line? Are there new products coming out? What, other than growing in the global market, where are we with new products on the horizon?
Mind if I take that question? I think one of the things that everybody up here would say is how excited they are about the business, and this is really without any knowledge of what's coming next. What I know is that we have a 5-year innovation plan that is been led and is being led by Lynn Emelo, our chief brand officer. And I guess my question for you guys would be, for all of you that use Rodan Fields products, who has a cupboard full of products that a lot of it's Rodan Fields, right? But who has products in there that aren't Rodan Fields? Just being honest, right? There's going to be something in there that is not Rodan Fields. It might be a cleanser. It might be something that you're using today. My guess is there's quite a few products, and there's a lot more that hands that probably should be in the air right now. And so there's some obvious product categories for Rodan and Fields to extend into. Just in the last few years, we've gotten into categories like sunless tannin, which has been wildly successful. Eye cream, which has been wildly successful. The core business is certainly built off of regimens, and today we have 4. Plus, recently we added a men's regimen. So that's our most recent addition, is our men's regimen. So we're starting to go after that men's market a little bit. Now, here's the next question, is for those of you that are familiar with Rodan and Fields products, let's go back in time a little bit. Who would have ever thought that they would have been using a macro E or an AMP MD or some of these tools that we have that you're like, there's no way I would have thought about these types of products. So there's some obvious extensions for Rodan and Fields, and there's a huge innovation plan of those types of products in terms of what's next. So it's really exciting, I think, to continue to support our core business of regimens, because that's what our business will always be built off of is regimens. But there's a lot of opportunity to continue to round out with new products as well. So that's a really great question.
If I can just add to that, all of Rodan and Fields regimen, the core regimen, and the other products, they are for men as well, and they have always been for men. I've been using the products since Romi started. I brought the kid home and said, look, before that, whatever, soap, whatever was on the counter, I didn't care. But when she started her business, she said, this is what you're going to use. And wanting to help her and being the compliant husband, I said, sure, dear. But now I can tell you, I won't even go camping. My son and I go camping without my Rodan and Fields regimen. They are phenomenal. So the regimen are for men. They always have been. What's happening now, and what's so innovative and exciting with the company, is this last year, what they discovered and started putting marketing behind and figuring it out is that there is a whole marketing angle to using the existing regimen for shaving. And obviously I don't shave that much, but when I shave my neck and my cheeks now, they are as smooth as they've ever been. And so that's what he's talking about, is taking and expanding not just the core products that we have into ancillary products and other products to complement the foundation of our business, which are the regimen, but also continuing to expand and uses for the existing regimen, like shaving for men.
Okay, John. I'm glad you said that, Arnie. I'll grab you next year. I'm glad you said that, because 20 years ago, how many men would have said what you just said? And the good news is that these changes are moving in our favor right now with men, with anti-aging skincare, with millennials. I know for a fact that they are way more interested in having these types of conversations around what can they do for themselves to make themselves look better later on. So there's no doubt that the trends are moving with us. Yeah, Arnie.
Okay, so quickly, JC, you can do this without a math background.
Arnie, what's the question?
You guys don't understand what I'm dealing with over here. These guys are great. So what's happening is they ask questions. I'm talking about you guys. They ask questions, and then before I get a chance to ask them, they all answer them on there. It is awesome. So I do have some notes.
So it's like Yammer for us internally, right?
It is.
That's fantastic.
But it is Yammer on steroids.
That's the RFX.
Okay, so Arnie, for the benefit of the group, what's a question that you've heard?
Jeremy, let me talk.
All right.
So first of all, Bridget, thank you for putting Periscope together. We're bouncing between 450 and 500 people on Periscope. It is amazing. It's math. Okay.
Hold on, Arnie. I'm going to interrupt you for just a second, and I am going to talk. You'll get your place back. I know. I've known you for a long time. We talked about social media and using media. Think about this. This is a live streaming event that is so easy to use for our businesses that anybody can use to reach people who they've never met and people and their friends, to expand the scope and reach beyond anything we've been able to do before. It's absolutely incredible. And this is one example of how we're using and leveraging technology as it's emerging and adapting it to this business.
Romi, are you going to Chicago with John and something about tacos? Are you bringing tacos? What is
So Artie, the question is she going to Chicago?
Are you going to Chicago?
So I think I can make that question applicable to everybody.
Okay.
So let's say you know people in Minneapolis, right? Or Philadelphia. So what's really cool is we have this network of consultants, of leaders that will do events like this in all of these markets, all over
I've already
the
got it
place,
written down.
and that you can actually invite your network to attend. So they can be sitting in an environment like this and hear all about Rodan Fields, and those folks, those leaders who may never profit from that, will still help you expose this business to them and help your people figure out if this is a good fit. So that person is referring to John's going to be in Chicago later this month, and so any of you thinking about the business, I also wanted you to think about who do you know in Chicago, because he will help you start to grow your business. How cool is that?
Okay, so you have been extremely patient up here, and I know you had a question.
So I was just kind of curious. I just want to do a shout out to Cunningham. Yay! But I just want to know, with the couples up there, what was the conversation starter to get your hubbies on board?
That's a great question.
We didn't have any convincing to do in my house. Josh was on board. Actually, Romi was in my living room, and Josh was watching golf, and he was all
like, hey,
yeah.
Did that change completely jobs?
Well, when I yeah, for me it was super easy. My job was miserable, and I, like I said, was smart enough to recognize at least that there was something to this, and I started to pay attention. I started to show up at the meetings. I started to learn how to talk about this with my friends. Amy said we grew up together. She was one of our first introductions. I would sit in the duck blinds in the middle of winter in Montana with my buddies in red skin and say, I've got stuff for that. What do you got? So we started talking about it and learning how to do it. And when the time came and we had replaced my income, for me, it was super easy to make that decision. So I guess I'm just lucky that way. But 8 months later, that company I was with unwound its operations nationwide, and 4,200 people lost their jobs. So I would have been one of those guys.
Okay, we've got a question right over here.
So I've been doing this for about a year alongside my full-time job, and people often ask, like, how do you do that with a 40-hour-a-week job? And I say it's really easy to fit it into the nooks and crannies of your life. And then a lot of the times they say, well, you said people do this full-time, so what does that take in terms of time commitment during the week? And how do you manage that time?
Oh, that's a great question.
Sure. So I don't think there really is such a thing as full-time in this business. So full-time for me in the corporate world was certainly 50, 60 hours a week. And I would say, realistically, I probably do it in about 25 to 30. And what I do, and we have a whole training program around this, guys. I mean, this is not, it's a curriculum, and we teach it and you duplicate it. And that one of those early steps is just to set up what we call hours of operation. And I'll tell you, my hours of operation are totally around my kids' schedule. My son plays basketball, my daughter plays lacrosse. I want to be there when they get off the bus at the end of the day. So I don't work from 3 until about 6. Those are just sacred. I get to put my family first. But I may jump up and do some office hours from 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning because I get my cup of coffee and I get online and get my day lined out. And then I'll open up my lunch hours and things. So my day is just these little pockets throughout. Even though it's full time, it's never full time.
So has this changed over time? Because I mean, you're a group that's been extremely successful. So is that describing your life now, and has that changed over time?
When I worked full time, I still had to set some hours of operation. They were, it's like what I did because I worked full time for a year before I could quit my job and replace that salary. And I kind of just reclaimed my lunch hours. I used to work through lunch all the time. I would give my boss my lunch hours. I would, give them, I would work from 5 to 6 in the evening. When this business came along, I really saw a way for me to kind of pay myself first. And so I just reclaimed those pockets back. And today I still kind of work that same thing because I have nonprofits that I volunteer for. I get to work out now anytime during the day that I want. I ride horses, and so I get to take a couple riding lessons a week, and I totally dictate my schedule. So I had to be disciplined then, and I'm still disciplined now because there's a lot of fun stuff I'm going to do during the day, and I work Rodan Fields now in between my fun stuff instead of my, job stuff.
Yeah, good. Okay, Arnie. Arnie, you're raising your hand over here. Back to you.
Okay, so a couple of questions have come. The same questions come up a couple times. Jeremy, how did Canada grow so fast, and how can we leverage the new markets quickly?
Yeah, that's a good question. I will jump in, and I'm going to look over at you guys, and if I miss something, I'm sure I will. I want you guys to jump in here as well. So, a little bit of history on Canada. Canada was a long time in the making. Some of the launch of Canada was dependent on some technology being available to us, and instead of, we should have launched Canada a couple years ago, we just launched in February. Having said that, it really allowed us to put some efforts into Canada to make some of that brand awareness up front. So that when we launched, there was at least some people up in Canada that had heard of Rodan Fields. So 2015 for us in Canada was wildly successful. We sold about 3 times as much in Canada as we had originally forecasted, which was absolutely outstanding. But what's really beneficial for that is we've gone through a lot of learnings that are going to help us out for Australia. The importance of investing into the market in advance to prepare some of that brand awareness, which our marketing team is actively doing right now, working with media, working with influencers over in Australia to get ready for Canada. We're in the midst of some technology upgrades that we've talked about right now, and we're getting that in place so that when Australia launches, if you live in Canada and your team's in the United States, but you want to build in Australia, or whatever the configuration might be, that's all going to be possible in a really seamless manner. So I know that some of you, though, have teams that you've built up in Canada. So do you have any advice for, when Australia does open? And I don't know that we've talked about this, but pre-recruiting in Australia is scheduled for later this year. Probably fall-ish, but that's been what's announced right now, is that pre-recruiting begins in Australia. So we're within, a year-ish or so of moving that direction with Australia. So with that, what advice do you guys have, knowing what you went through in Canada?
My advice remains the same as I think I answered one of you earlier, is just run like hell in the US and Canada. Because that's going to perfectly poise you for whatever global market we expand to. Because imagine who you know, who you bring on, and who they're going to know. That's the power of the model.
When I think of another country, I think of it as another state. The reality is, we don't do it in Australia or Canada any differently than we do it here. So it's who do you know in Australia? Who do you know in Canada? Who do they know? And you duplicate the system. And just to touch on what you asked there a moment ago about hours, one thing you got to realize in this business is our business is compound. Okay. So a lot of times, if you're consistent and persistent with working 10 hours a week in those nooks and crannies, your income continues to grow and grow and grow exponentially because of that. That's why we don't all work 40 hours a week, because basically, we are duplicating. I might be working 10 hours and then, and then Linda here, retired herself from school teaching and, has a huge team in Texas. I mean, her team's working, do you see what I'm talking about? It basically compounds. So, it's not like you're working a ton of more hours as your business grows. The key is to be consistent and persistent in what you do and have those scheduled hour of operation, whether that means you work your business 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week or 30 hours a week, whatever you can do. Does that make sense?
I can just add to the globalization question of how do you grow overseas. I think
they're working on the thumping.
One of the people... So I think a lot of people tie their hopes and their dreams of saying, I'm just gonna, if I could just grow overseas, if I can be the first one into this new international market, I'm gonna grow huge, and it's gonna be an incredible business. And the reality is every single person that I've talked to,
there they got it fixed,
and that's their focus, is the globalization. Every single one is not focused on actually building their business now. There's something that we call income producing activity. This is a business system. It's a business model. It's a business program. There are ways to grow your business and to schedule your day and activities that you do to actually grow your business. Australia and the US, or in Canada, are, as market sizes, a fraction of what it is in the US. The US dwarfs the Canadian market and the Canadian population. And so,
like Texas.
It's like Texas. And so, to grow a huge international business, I agree 100% with Romi and what everybody else said. Focus on the fundamentals of this business in your backyard in the US. That's how you grow a huge international business.
Great. Okay, we've got a question right back here.
Hi, my name is Lisa. Thank you for being here and sharing all your experiences. I have two questions. The first one is, if you want to do this job, how do you balance transitioning from the full-time job that you have right now into these things that you are doing right now? How did you guys do that? And the second question is, do you have any plans to expand in Mexico and South America?
Do you want to answer the second one first?
Yeah, let me take the second one first. Right now, we've been pretty upfront, especially with our consultants internally. Next market, it was not really obvious, Australia. We also announced at our convention this last year that we've got people on the ground in Japan. And so we're actively researching how to open up the Japanese market. No promises on when that's going to happen, but there's a lot for us to understand in order to be successful when we do launch in Japan. We're going to see sort of a step change in differences. It's one thing to go from the US to Canada to Australia, but going into Asian markets will be, very, very new for us. We're going to have a really steep learning curve. So when we do it, we want to do it right. And so those will be the next markets, will be those Asian markets. There's no plans right now to move into any of the South American markets. But from what's exciting for me is that long term, I'm sure that when the opportunity is there, when we're ready for it, we will be. But it's just not in the foreseeable future right now, which for me it shows we have a long, long, long path of growth ahead of us.
And to answer your first question about how do you do this job and then transition from part-time and doing it around an existing career into letting go of that career. First of all, I want to make something crystal clear. This isn't a job. You get to own your own business and carve out as large a piece of the global skincare pie as you want. So that's a very different thing. I think for all of us, what we've really seen throughout the years is that you don't have to let go of your day job until you've priced yourself out of it, right? So when your income grows to the point where it's meeting or exceeding what your day job is bringing you, then you have the freedom to make those decisions. We still have some folks that are so madly in love with their existing career that they keep doing it, but they do it on their own terms. My husband was able to step away from clinical practice, but he's still able to do pro bono medicine the way he wants to do it and still help people, but on his terms. So you'll be able to make that decision when the time comes. So getting started, starting to build this, that's the first step. And the vast majority of us started around day jobs and multiple kids and a host of extracurricular activities and trying to lose baby weight and everything else. And you saw Marissa McDonough here with beautiful baby Kay. I mean, people are going through pregnancies and having careers and giving birth and still growing and promoting and seeing their checks grow the month that they produce little humans. I mean, it's so extraordinary what you can do with this. So getting started in this business is as simplistic and turnkey as building it. You pick a business building kit. You start getting handheld and spoon-fed by the person who brings you into the business. And you immediately can start reaching out to people you know. And you get to lean on the folks who have come before you until you get your sea legs. And that's how this really goes. Can we take one more question? I think then we probably have to wrap up.
For 24 hours.
Perfect. Yep. We've got one more right here.
Thank you. To expand on Elisa's question. Are we still able to sell into those markets where where Rodan Fields has not expanded to? And my original question before that came up was, what does a typical 9 to 5, or what do typical office hours consist of?
So, Jeremy, I'm going to let you take that question on whether we can sell into those markets. The answer is no, but we can expand on that.
I don't know that we have to expand a lot. Yeah, I mean, just to cut through it, yeah, we're not able to ship into any markets that we haven't launched into. Yeah.
And then to answer, just to piggyback on what Romi said, is this business is designed to fit in if you have a part-time or a full-time job. And I take my business everywhere I go. It's mobile. I use my phone. And we're all so attached to our phones. I'm sitting at my kids' volleyball games or wherever I am with my children, and there's other moms sitting next to me. I can scroll Facebook and find somebody from kindergarten. You're working your business all the time. So you're setting those hours of operation, but you're also finding moments throughout your day where you can connect with new people to talk to. So, and it doesn't even feel like work. You know, you're making friends, and that's how I run my business. Is I just make new friends every day, and it may or may not be a right fit for them, but then I can sell them some skincare. So
they have to watch their face.
They have to.
I'm going to just give a quick example. I went on a cruise with several girlfriends. One girlfriend who invited 15 other girlfriends. We were sitting at dinner one night, and they started asking me about Rodan Fields. Well, I think I ended up getting 10 customers, and 3 of them ended up joining my business. I was on a cruise to Mexico. So the bottom line is we share. So, you know, and depending on what your life is.
The story is take a cruise and get
take a cruise with a bunch of people you don't know and go to dinner with them, you know?
Listen to the camera.
And, you know, you could be sitting on the plane next to someone having a conversation. You could be at Nordstrom's. You can be anywhere, you know, as long as you're engaging with people. So hours of operation, that's all up to what your hours of operation are. You know, I always fit my business into, you know, I mean, I basically had a schedule of operations. Like she said, I mean, when my kids came home, I would shut down and not work. But, you know, I get a Facebook message today where, hey, Kim, I've got someone that would love to use your products. And I said, great. And we connected on Facebook. And, you know, I mean, that easy. So, you know, that's the way we do our business. It really is a social networking business where it's belly to belly and media and that kind of thing. So
there's a lot of people on Periscope going on a cruise now.
And if I may give some advice, obviously get earbuds or hands-free Bluetooth because it's amazing how much business we have done while multitasking. Like, it's crazy. You don't even want to know what we've been doing while we've been closing. It will be that's how you really monetize all those little snippets of time.
Nicole enrolled somebody in the dressing room at Nordstrom.
Got a girl.
That is great.
Hands free.
So one thing I like to do at all of the events I go to is I want to just get a sense, how many RFX leaders do we have in the room tonight, outside, you know, in addition to those on the panel here?
Raise your hand. Keep going. Raise them high. Raise them high. Raise them high.
I'm not sure if I mentioned this at the beginning, but we actually have all of our RFX leaders, which again for the guests in the room, it's sort of our top tier. Every one of our RFX leaders from around the world have flown in for some meetings here for the next couple of days. And so I just want to say, you know, thanks to everybody for coming out and supporting. This is a group that has, you know, that's not directly affiliated with everybody here, but that's, you know, very much, I think, representative of what Rodan Fields is about, is supporting each other and recognizing that we are better together, which is not always the case with all businesses. So with that, is there somebody who can volunteer to talk about next steps? What happens next from here?
Okay, so the next steps, if you happen to be interested in business, we would love to help you enroll this evening. We have a whole section set up in the library back there where all of us will be answering your questions. We can enroll you tonight. We have a few options to get started. The 2 best options are $6.95 or $9.95 consultant business in a kit, business in a box, and it literally is your business in a box. It comes to your doorstep. So we can show you those options back there. We can help you get enrolled. Whoever invited you today should join you in the back of the room. If you're listening on Periscope, then the person who invited you tonight can walk you through the enrollment process as well.
And Jeremy, I think you've got something a little fabulous for the folks in the room.
If I could interject, there are 4 ways to sign up for the business. To Nicole's point, the $995 kit is by far the best value. We offer it one time. It's upon enrollment. You get about half off on the products, and so as a one-time purchase, if you're in a position to start off that way, it's a really, really, really good value. There's a $695 kit, which is also an excellent value. There's a $395 kit, and there's a $45 kit, which I'm proud to say you can grow as high as you want to within the company with a $45 kit. But there is a one-time opportunity to buy into those products. I do have a rule of thumb that wherever I travel, whether it's Raleigh or Dallas or Chicago or New York or wherever I'm going this year, for anybody that signs up that's in the room tonight with a $995 kit or a $695 kit, I will offer a free regimen in addition to everything that you get in that kit as well.
And it's for the folks here at Periscope. Sorry, we miss you, but yeah.
You got to be here.
And we'll explain to you when we answer questions about which kit makes most sense for you. We'll explain all the different things you can do with that free regimen to help you market your new business. I do have to say, I'm so excited about this program. I know everyone up here is. Corporate has something in place that wasn't in place when we started. Okay, check this out. You come in, you do the very things we have been coaching people to do when they start their businesses for 6.5 years, which is come on in, add a couple of people to your team and help them start to duplicate, and corporate will award back your kit investment. So your investment in your new business could end up being a net zero. So that's pretty huge. And we show you while earning commissions, retail profit on the products, and other bonuses. So there's some amazing abilities to earn some right now money as you're building that longer term residual income that help to set all of us free. So I have to say a huge thank you to everybody up here. John and our life would not be what it is without all of you, both personally and professionally, so thank you. There is so much room to grow this all across the U.S., into Canada, and then overseas. We hope you join us. We hope you see what we see, and you have connected the dots for yourself to see what Rodan Fields could do for you. Now, here's what we know. I want to leave you with this. Here's what we know. Your network is going to hear about Rodan Fields. Tonight, you get to decide. Are they going to hear about it from you? Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you so much.
Good night, you guys. You were great.
Just sliding right, sliding right. Right when it starts, bam. Take a seat. Hey, what do you think about that?